First time.
This is our stage 4, technically Bay 2. Shooter begins standing at table on right, rifle fully loaded, held at low ready, pistol loaded and holstered securely. At buzzer, shooter will engage rifle targets downrange. 2 hits on the left target, 1 on the middle, 2 hits on the right. Shooter will table their rifle safely. Shooter will proceed over the low sticks, under the high stick, over the low stick, to that table, draw their pistol and get 2 hits on the left, 1 hit on the middle, 2 hits on the right. Shooter will table their pistol. They will return over the low sticks, under the high sticks, over the low stick, reacquire their rifle and get 2 hits left, 1 hit middle, 2 hits right. Anything less than 2-1-2 on the pistol is a miss. Anything less than 4-2-4 total on the rifle targets is a miss. Any stick knocked over is plus 10 seconds. I like walking over stick. Call under fire. Good. All right. Clear. Bye.
That little guy's gonna.
Good.
See, the problem with crawling is you never have to kill up too quick. That little guy's gonna. See, the problem with crawling
I like walking over stick. Call under fire. Let's start with stage 4. So how did your, well then we'll have conclusions. How did your stage 4 go?
Actually, pretty well. Better than most of my other stages so far.
Now, this may be surprising to our audience that you are probably the most nimble guy at the match.
Okay.
I think.
That's
There's a couple guys, you are particularly nimble. You know, it's not strength, it's nimble. You can jump and move pretty quick, and that helped you on that stage because there was a little oak course there.
Yeah, I was able to go through that nice and fast.
And you did beat me on that stage by 3 seconds.
Yep.
And what I think is interesting about that, and this is what's funny, I had enough of knocking over sticks for penalties at the Independence Day match. So I just flat out said, screw that noise. I'm going to calmly walk across the bay, step over them, walk under them, step over them. And I did. I walked the stage.
Yep.
And in spite of walking, it's interesting. If you know where you're at, I was only 3 seconds behind you.
Yeah, but you also if we had taken out that movement, you were faster on your shots and you would have taken the stage.
Yes.
But losing a few seconds by going slower is a calculated risk reduction over potentially taking a large penalty for knocking over a stick.
I did not want 10 seconds to eat anything for those sticks. Whether I knocked it over with my little tip of my head or I tipped it with my toe, screw that noise. No 10-second penalties for me. I'll take my 3-second hit.
What asshole comes up with these stupid stick things?
I don't know. People like me that design the stage. So at any rate, it was rifle, pistol, rifle, the star. How'd the star do over there?
Well, those targets were way bigger, and I think they were a little closer. It was a lot easier. I still had, it wasn't perfect, but it was better.
Cool. And
Honestly, kind of the same issue. Same thing, 4th time in a row. It's taking the time to find the target in the field of view.
Yep. Now people are going to ask, and it does seem awkward, and I agree that it's odd. You were putting the bipod on for every stage.
Yes, we should mention that.
And the reason is, guys, we have a rule
at two-gun action challenge match in that the rifle cannot change its configuration from any stage to another.
Right.
So if you're going to use a bipod on stage 1, guess what? The bipod's on there for stages 2, 3, and 4, or vice versa.
The exception is if you are shooting an armored class where you're wearing rifle plates through the whole match. The bonus you get for doing that is you can change out any gear, any configurations, and pretty much do whatever you want.
So armored shooters can change any configuration as long as they carry it. But any other category, including open, has to leave the gun in the configuration it started in. You wanted to use your bipod on stage 3.
Yep.
Which
Our
was
first stage.
First stage, which meant you had the bipod on for all the stages.
Right.
And it's a little awkward for this gun, but imagine regular guns where people are changing optics, or the open guys that are switching out bipods. It gets ridiculous, and it takes away from the practicality. Because in the real world, you're not going to be changing your rifle dynamically per stage. You might if you had precognition, but if you don't have precognition and you're walking down a wash, you're not going to know this is the rifle I need for the next engagement.
Right.
So we just kill that, and that's why there's that artificial you having a bipod on the gun.
Right. And, it's actually kind of nice. That bipod's low profile enough that I never really noticed it.
And it's light enough that I don't think you'd notice it weight-wise either.
Not really.
All right. So anyways, let's go into just general conclusions.
Time stress.
Yeah.
Time stress is a relevant thing. We've been doing this match and the last match both, where all the stages limited to 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And now that was done because of time constraints and the number of shooters who are showing up. But what that really does is help train you for inoculation against this idea that the timer's going, so I better shoot faster, 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 which usually means worse, 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 and then you end up doing terribly.
It might seem interesting. Some of our stages are very engaged and difficult and long. Mm-hmm. The last 2 months, this month is one of them with the 60-second stages. They're not particularly long stages. They can't be. But some of them are just within the constraints of being able to complete them.
Yeah.
And so when you have that in the back of your mind, unless you've been time inoculated or stress inoculated enough, you start doing like you're saying. You start throwing shots. You start rushing. You fumble a reload.
It's funny. You can get the same person, and if you have no time limit on the stage, they'll do it in 45 seconds. Mm-hmm. But if you give them a 60-second limit, they'll miss, and they'll fumble things, and they'll time out.
So what it boils down to is, this is going to be a Pat McNamara quote, but the timer is not, oh my God, I need to go, I need to finish. The timer is, you may begin. And, this has a practical application in real life. I mean, this is not training, it's a match. But any firearms handling, in my opinion, unless you're just having a good day plinking, is martial in its nature. And therefore, let's have martial elements in what we're doing. And if the idea is the timer going off is the same thing as, oh no, I'm in a defensive situation, rushing may not be the right answer.
I'd say rushing is often the worst answer.
I'm going to paraphrase Wyatt Earp, actually, of all people. He has a quote, and I don't remember the exact quote, but his quote was, fast is nice, accuracy is final.
Yeah. Fast is fine, accuracy is fine.
That's it. But that's what we're seeing here with 60-second part times.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the rifles.
They actually both did really well. I had one weird malfunction. Bolt didn't go all the way home. It's not something I'd seen before. It didn't happen to me a second time. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm using really dirty ammo. I'm using this new tool ammo that's got the silver bullet. And man, just loading a magazine, your hands turn in. They look like a coal miner.
No, I'm using the same stuff.
And I wonder if maybe I have enough of that crap built up in the inside of the rifle. Maybe I just need to clean it out. I think yours is running a little wetter. You've got more lube in there.
I do,
than
yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Mine's running actually pretty dry. So maybe it's just a kind of a routine maintenance thing. I have yet to actually clean this rifle ever.
Yep.
So that might be it. Other than that, really all of the issues I had were scope related.
Yeah, I would say it's interesting. So considering how much difficulty I had building mine and my kit not going together as well as yours did.
Yeah, it didn't come through on the video, but you were really unhappy.
It was a very frustrating experience. That's one of the things when you're home building anything, whether it's a gun or a computer or a car, when it doesn't go together the way it should. I mean, these prescribed parts in this right order should make a gun, right?
Yeah.
And then I put prescribed parts in right order and spend days doing this, and I'm like, blam jam, blam jam, blam jam. Sucked.
Yeah, it really can.
However, you get home, and then if you're me, you start getting in this, like, I have to fix it, the gun has to work, why is it not working, what's going on, I gotta do it. So then I start working on it, put in the new spring, put in the lapel case, figure out what's going on, start looking at it, film it firing and see what the malfunction looks like. And, God forbid, I think we've proven, I figured it out.
Yeah, it ran perfectly today.
I'm not taking out the lapel case, I'm leaving it the way it is. The gun runs, it's a home build, I don't care that it's got that hack in it. Hacks are cool, gun works. I had zero problems with this today, and I've had zero problems since I got it running. So, cool. Nice. Yep. The only thing I'd say about this one is it's the bolt hold open is plain up stupid. It's just stupid. It's an afterthought. And the sight picture on the clock wasn't as bad as I thought it was when we were not on the clock. It's bad. There's way better out there. I mean, an AR-15 iron sight picture is just light years. It was usable.
clearly it was usable. I think you're going to end up doing pretty well overall in the match.
I can see where the Spaniards came up with this, and they started testing it, and they were like, "This is okay. This will work." Because today, frankly, my experience today is, if you said, "Okay, this is your rifle," I don't think I'd be upset until you're in the field and the springs go bad,
That's the problem.
Or-
Or the magazines don't work.
or the magazines don't work, or the little screw that holds the buffer assembly together falls out and goes into your action and causes the gun to be not functional. And if you fired in that case, you would actually cause maybe a catastrophic failure. That happened to me before the match. Thank God. I was at home playing with it, and I hear plink, something fell in the gun. I'm like, why is this Spanish gun now a castanet? So I take it apart and dump it, and this little screw falls out. Blink.
That's always a bad sign.
Where's the screw from? And when I pull the stock off, the whole buffer assembly's like into pieces. I'm like, oh, you push the thing down, and the screw is what holds it all together. By the way, the Loctite did that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that, and if that had happened at the stage here,
That would have been end of the stage for you.
but when that happened, that was straight up Mierda Escondida.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Or Escondida Mierda, however the order is. I don't speak Spanish. But otherwise, I would actually say, while this is cool, I think the scope's a deficit.
Certainly for the stages we were shooting today, the scope was a hindrance. Is it always going to be? Maybe not. Now it's interesting, this is not the only scope that was used on these rifles. The Spanish, a lot of the guys with the LVs apparently actually use British SUSAT optics. So I might look into trying to find one of those and at least experiment with it, see if that's a better sight picture, if that resolves some of these issues, if it has a better field of view, that could really be substantially helpful.
Now, for a while, I would chuck historic accuracy right out the window. Pew!
Yep.
And I'd put a piece of pick rail on here, and I'd put an input micro, and it would be high off bore offset, but I'd have an awesome rifle.
Yeah, that's no different than most bullpups.
Yeah, but I mean, a little red dot right there, this thing would be rocking.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So,
Who knows? We'll see what happens.
in general, I'd say we had success. Well, you could have,
Yeah.
we would have probably wanted to have better stage times today. I had pretty good ones. I don't know where I placed yet, but we built guns that now work reliably.
Yeah, in a competitive environment, no less.
Freaking awesome.
Well done.
So that's a win. We
Yeah.
both succeed in that regard.
Definitely. So hopefully some other people will take up the challenge of building some of these. It's certainly not for everybody. It takes some tools, it takes some patience, it takes some manual dexterity, but that's the kind of project that can be really rewarding if you take it on and are willing to follow it through.
And now Brother Ian will take it home.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this whole series, if you like seeing match videos of this sort, please do consider checking out our Patreon account. It's support from you guys at a couple bucks a month that really makes it possible for us to do this with new and different and interesting guns every time. Obviously, that's not something everyone can do. If you can't, we understand. Just subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Full 30, and share the videos with your friends.